Last year, I found myself supervising 50 Gen Zs in a project.
50?
Yeah,
Or 15?
50, 50. Honestly, they frustrated my life. I see them as unserious people, to be honest.
First of all, I'm offended.
They don't like taking things serious. They like doing things at their own pace. Our generation that we take like very seriously. If we don't make it, we have failed. Gen Zs don't care.
I just want a very easy and friendly environment. I don't want to see my boss and hey, God, someone is coming. No, like you are the boss, fine, I don't care. So we're not coming to say change the entire narrative and let everything just change. But no, adapt to the fact that you don't have to be too serious to make things work.
Of all the different generations that we work with, the Gen Zs are the only ones that know about mental health. Before one small thing, they're going to say, it's my mental health, I need to take care of my mental health.
It's not that deep, you know.
What's not that deep?
Everything.
Everything is deep, oh. Welcome to today's episode of Center Stage Podcast. And today we are going to be talking about an intergenerational discourse. I guess by looking at what we're all wearing, maybe you can guess what the topic is. We're talking about Gen Zs. Yes, Generation Z. And for the Gen Zs, we're looking at the future of work. So are the Gen Zs breaking tradition, or are they actually redefining the moment? And with me in the studio today, I'm not sure you can guess what our age is. I'm the Gen Z, true or false? Well, maybe not. But let me introduce my guest. I'm going to start with Peace. Peace is a Gen Z lawyer. Not only is she an intellectual lawyer, she's actually challenging norms. She doesn't take rubbish lying down, yes. And she's a social justice enthusiast. She represents the Gen Zs, and one thing about her that I really like is she has turned her passion into an evolving business. Yes, she has a nail studio. We'll ask about your address later so people can come and patronize you, right? But she has redefined what work looks like, you know. She has proved that tradition is another system that is just waiting to be upgraded. So I introduce you to my delectable Peace Adewi. Thank you. Sitting next to Peace is another generational candidate. And I'd like to introduce you to Bashar Abubakar, a career-focused Gen X, a career-focused millennial with a sharp eye for research. He is renowned as the most indexed African journalist on solutions in development and journalism. And this proclamation is by the Solutions Journalism Tracker. He understands how narratives shape realities, and he's no stranger to navigating the change, you know, in the landscape. And Bashar is here today because he's worked with a lot of us, we Gen Zs. And today we are going to talk about how are Gen Zs, you know, taking tradition on and how are they redefining the moment. Yeah. So let's talk about interest. What interests Gen Zs? I'll start with you, Bashar.
Well, I think they like having fun and whatever they are doing. Yeah, I see them as unserious people, to be honest.
Really? I'm offended on their behalf.
So what interests them the most, I think, from what I have learned working with them over the years, is that they don't like taking things serious. They like doing things at their own pace, at their own time, without any pressure. Unlike us, like our generation, that we take like very seriously. If we don't make it, we have failed. Gen Zs don't care, you know. And what amazes me about this their mindset is that they get things done despite the unseriousness. Okay. Just that if you are the one managing them, they'll frustrate your life while they get the things done. But at the end of the day, they get things done. So I think they are really attracted to fun-loving people, flexibility, that ability to express themselves, not in a too serious manner, but then without giving a damn about who is on the way, who they are offending or anything. They just like being themselves.
So I put it to you, Barrister Peace. Is it true that you guys don't give a damn?
No, it's not true. First of all, I'm offended. But the truth is, I feel like we just want, I won't say soft life, Let things just be easy. Life doesn't have to be so hard. I can meet my deadlines. I can do what I have to do, but just let it be easy. I don't have to, run here, run here, run here to do what I have to do. I'll meet my targets. I'll do what I'm employed to do. But I just want a very easy and friendly environment. I don't want to see my boss and, hey, God, someone is coming. No, like, you are the boss, fine, I don't care. I just want to do what I'm here to do. So I would say we are serious. It's not like we're unserious people. We know why we are here. We know why we're employed. We know why we even applied for the job in the first place. So we didn't just come here to chill. However, we just want the workspace to be very easy for everybody to work.
So if you're working in a regular 9 to 5, you're going into an environment where there is structure, how then do you fit your parameters as a Gen Z into the structured environment?
Okay.
Without losing your job?
Okay. I've worked in 9 to 5, or I work in 9 to 5, but I'm here because I decided that if I'm going to work in 9 to 5, it has to be hybrid.
It has to be what?
Hybrid.
It has to be what?
So it's just something most hybrid organizations have, like, a lot of Gen Z. Well, because they just want to be able to do what I love to do and still work what I'm trying to, do for the company. So I would say it's not like we're trying to shift what your company does entirely, but we're just coming to say, you know what, it can work like this and it can still work like this. So we're not coming to say change the entire narrative and let everything just change, but no, adapt to the fact that we don't have to be too serious to make things work. So if we are going into a structured 9 to 5 that already has, like, maybe things in place on how everybody's supposed to work, is a step-by-step thing to maybe introduce, why can't we do it hybrid? Why can't I submit my report virtually rather than printing it and submitting it on your table? So if we do that, we're not trying to change it entirely, but we're just trying to introduce our own style, so to say, into the work environment.
I want to be sure that you're describing the workplace in Nigeria, not
yes,
in London.
in Nigeria.
In Nigeria. Okay.
Yes.
Basha, what frustrations have you had working with Gen Zs?
Okay, so last year I found myself supervising 50 Gen Zs in a project.
50?
Yeah.
Or 15?
50, 50.
Wow. Okay.
54, actually, more than
Wow.
50, 54 in a project. And honestly, they frustrated my life. We had deadlines. Okay, we needed to accomplish this. It was supposed to be done in like a week. But that took us almost 3 weeks, Okay, when I need something from them, give me update. What are you at? What's the update on this? Some of them will not reply. They will take like 2-3 hours.
They want to chill.
They will not reply. And then when they reply, they do it without any apology. Like, just, okay, this is it. Like, yeah, this is it.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly. Without saying, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't send this to you at this time, this. No. And you know what really made me angry? I tried to scare them by saying I will report them to their supervisor.
Who cares, like she said?
And most of them were okay. Like, okay, if you want, you can report us. So imagine dealing with Gen Zs that really, they don't care if you report them to their supervisors. The supervisor, last, it will give them query. And maybe they don't really care, even if they give them query or something. But then again, some of them are really good at what they do. They do the work, even though they take their time to do the work, but they do it very well. But just that along the way, you just have to be extremely patient with them in order to get what you want from them.
Okay. So I'm going to ask a question about mental health, because it's a term that is often really paraded, especially in the wake of COVID. And we all have that mental health space where we need to be sure that we are okay. But sometimes, as an employer of labor, I kind of have this feeling that of all the different generations that we work with, and where I work, right, we have across the different generations, the Gen Zs are the only ones that know about mental health. Before one small thing, they might say, it's my mental health.
Yeah,
I need to take care of my mental health.
Yeah.
How is mental health affecting you?
Okay, I feel like mental health is something that has been existing since. But
True.
with the coming of Gen Z, or with the coming of Gen Z into the workspace, they take it seriously. Like, if I'm working, my brain should be chill. Like I said, I'm not supposed to be stressing over
I
too
almost
many
feel like
things.
you guys want to have a line on your scope of work that says mental health alert, I'm just saying, right?
Yeah, so we care about our mental health because in the end, I feel like everybody should even care about it.
Yep.
If my mental health is not okay, I can't put 100% productivity into what I'm employed to do. So the environment has to align sort of with giving me a mental health that is at rest, that is just at peace about things that are happening. So definitely, if I'm even going to choose a job, it has to be something that I'm sure that is not going to stress my mental health. I'll be
so
okay.
what would be a deal breaker for your mental health?
Okay, for
At
me,
work,
personally, at
yes,
work,
yes.
a deal breaker for my mental health would be maybe an 8 to 7 job. I can't do it. I can't put my brain at work from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. I won't do it.
It's all right.
9 to 5 is what it is. And I come to work before 9.
9 to 5 where?
9
In
to 5.
Nigeria, we don't resume at 9.
I resume at 9.
Okay.
I close by 5. I've worked in
Okay.
2 organizations now, and that's how it is.
Okay.
It's
okay.
9 to 5.
But
And it's
that's
strict.
not the traditional time to resume
But
and
people are
close, right?
adopting. No, that's the time. On your offer letter is 9 to 5.
Okay.
And I resume before 9,
Okay.
and I leave once it's 5.
So the timing is one deal breaker. What's another deal breaker?
Okay,
for you?
another deal breaker for me is just, I don't know how to put it, but if the environment is toxic, I feel like one of the major testers for me for toxicity is there's just a sense of fear here. Once you enter, everybody's afraid. It could be the ED, it could be anybody, but everybody's just afraid.
And
Why are
shaking.
yeah, like, why are you so scared? Everybody's human. I don't understand. I have reverence for my boss, definitely. I have respect for my
Somehow
boss.
I believe you.
Yeah. But I don't have to be so afraid of this person.
True.
So for me, if there's, I won't call it respect, if there's just some form of fear for somebody, there is a deal breaker for me.
So I guess what we need to think about is how do we switch, especially working in an environment where you have the Gen Zs, you have the Generation X, you have the millennials. How do you make sure that in working and relating with people, people are still comfortable in their space and you are not negatively affecting their mental health? Because I do get mental health and it's really, really important for all of us to take care of. Maybe for me, I am intentional about which software is my brain operating in. And my children are millennials. No, not millennials. What's the next one after millennials now? Millennials now. Millennials are before Gen Z.
Yes.
Oh yes, so they're millennials, right? And even that for me is a real switch. But how I cope is I remember how I think about myself and my mom, of blessed memory, and I'm like, sometimes when my mom expects, how can you do this? I'm like, that's in the olden days. We don't do like that anymore. So each time I see something and before I react, I'll just tell myself, like you say, chill. They say chillax. I just tell myself, chill, things are different now. But not every employer of labor gets it. And not every workspace can give that accommodation to Gen Zs. What would you tell employers of labor that have to maybe have a workforce of 60% of Gen Zs? They're in trouble. How will they cope? What would you say from your experience as how to make sure that the workplace, the environment is conducive? The Gen Zs who are often misunderstood, often misrepresented, often miscategorized, but really intellectual.
Yeah.
Honestly, they are.
Yeah, they are.
And only a few of them are lazy. So what would you tell someone who needs to have a workforce that is mostly Gen Zs?
Well, so there is this phrase that it's not that deep, So
What's not that deep?
everything.
Everything is deep, Gen Zs.
It's not that deep. So you really have to adapt to that phrase. Like, it's not that. Don't be too hard on them. And there are instances that you really have to come down to their level. Yeah, your experience, your mindset, your orientation about life and all, it's not the same. That they typically have it much more easier than we had it, we had to struggle to get many things, but then they don't believe in struggle to get things. They have many things at their disposal and their way of thinking is different. So you just have to come down to their level, make the place a bit relaxed for them, focus on the output, not the process, mostly. Most employers of labor, I will say many, they focus on the process and not the output. If a Gen Z gets the output done, don't mind about how they get it done.
Even if how they get it done, actually erodes some of the ethical values.
No.
Even if how they get it done somehow erodes some of the principles, of work.
Well, so that's where you have to really let them know to-dos and not to-dos. When I say how they get them done, I mean the timing, how they
Okay.
get it done. Maybe if it's taking too long, give them that leverage. If they have maybe other ways that are easier for them to do it, which you may not know,
Yep.
as far as it doesn't go against the moral and ethical values of the organization, I think you should allow them. You should be more flexible. You should be more relaxed to get them. You can even learn from them.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Most of them, they do things, they have this shortcut they do, or these softwares or stuff they use to get things done that you may not be aware of. Or even if you're aware of them, you don't know how to use them, how to utilize them. So give them that flexibility,
Yeah.
that freedom. But
Yeah.
then again, they can really go out of the way if you don't supervise them well. So which is where you also need to be really disciplined. Not to be too hard, but then as much as possible when they go out of the line, you have to correct them.
Yeah.
Without putting them under unnecessary pressure or affecting their mental health.
So I really think it's a matter of balance, right?
Yes,
It's
finding
a
the
matter of
balance,
balance.
yeah.
And there was a time many years ago in my household, I was the only one that understood technology. I knew everything. But a few years down the line, I had to be asking them,
Yeah.
how do I get this done? Then they
Exactly.
say, Mommy, Google it. And I'm like, Google, what's that? You know?
Yeah.
So technology is something that has really given the Gen Zs a good edge. And a lot of organizations can't survive without honing their skills in technology. Some of us sometimes struggle even with the traditional Microsoft Word
Yeah.
and PowerPoint and all the other new packages and applications, but Gen Zs get it. I love working with Gen Zs, irrespective of what I've said. I love working with Gen Zs. You know, they bring in the fire, the energy, you know, they switch things around, you know, they are responsible for a lot of creativity in the workplace. They make the place vibrate. When I say vibrate, I mean vibrate. You know, sometimes you go to some workspaces where all they know how to do first before they can get their energy or creative juices flowing is they play music.
Yeah.
And the music gets the place, you know.
Yeah.
And the beauty of a successful workplace is the environment. You know, it's how conducive the environment is. It's not how well you manage the people. It's how do you make the place conducive for everyone to be able to do their work. I think as we begin to wrap up, if you were to market Gen Zs to an employer who is listening to this podcast, how would you make your pitch about Gen Zs?
Okay, first of all, no offense to any generation, but I would say that Gen Zs are the most productive people because check your workspace.
Yeah.
You would see that there's nobody that is a Gen Z that does just one thing. This person might be maybe your comms person, but probably has her own podcast somewhere else, has like a business somewhere else, and her
Exactly.
A game is in everything. When my former boss found out I was a nail tech, when I was leaving, she was like, I don't understand how you put in so much here and then you still run a business. So I would say that you won't really find millennials doing something and then they have another business. Except maybe civil service, they're just selling something here or selling something there. No, but
Millennials are not that old now.
even the Gen X.
Talk about
But
maybe Gen X,
yeah,
yes.
but they just have they have so many flows where they express themselves and they bring their A games in everything and they are productive at each and everything that they do. So I would say that rather than hiring somebody that will just sit and be productive at your office and maybe earn you the money you want to earn or do whatever they are paid to do, why not hire somebody that would be productive for your office and also be productive for the society? So that's one thing. Their productivity is good. And then secondly, I would say that they bring some form of ease to your organization. If maybe everybody's just busy, someone can just say something, everybody laughs, and everybody comes back to work again. So it just brings some form of liveliness to your office space and to your workspace, which is most likely not there with Gen X. I'm very sure it's not there. Maybe with millennials it is, but it's just some form of liveliness. And then if you notice among Gen Zs, they feel like, why can't I make friends at work? Sometimes I read so many things that, oh, your co-workers are not your friends, mind your business. But where I work, we are family. Everybody, I won't say knows everybody's personal life, but like everybody just relates to each other. So I feel like if you can have like a workspace where everybody is like family, like friends, sort of, Gen Zs will bring that for you. Because definitely we can relate to each other. And even if I cannot relate to the millennial, I'll relate to the Gen X, like should be my mommy to the Gen X. So everybody just relates like that. So I feel like if you want, some form of community in your workspace, then you should get Gen Zs. So I'll say that.
I like how you've landed. If you want some form of community, and I think life now has gone beyond thinking in individuals. You think in communities of practice, communities of friendship, intellectual communities. Yeah, Bashar, any last words from you?
Well, I think I will go back to like your question about how will you market Gen Zs. For me, what amazes me about them is their innovation.
Dexterity.
Yeah, they are very innovative, you know. All the Gen Zs I have worked with, you hardly find a Gen Z with just one skill. You see that they are multi-skilled. When you give them, I know a Gen Z that I was mentoring. The guy was very good at PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was also good at Canva. Like, he will design graphic that really, me, in my wildest dream, I will not think of design graphic like that. So they are that really good. I don't know, I think maybe because of the resources that are available to them now, that were really not available to the older generation. I think that has really expanded their mindset, their thinking capabilities. Is much more flexible, or how will much more flexible, much more balanced than us, than others.
Okay.
So that their innovation, that their innovative mind is really an asset to like many organizations. You can use them in many areas, in many departments, and they will excel. And they are very good. And when you teach them, they pick up and they learn fast, because most of them, they are always on their systems, their phones, learning about things, or
watching football.
Watching sometimes watching football, but they make use of resources that we don't make use of.
Okay.
YouTube, all that things.
Yeah, that's true. I actually believe. Peace. If I give you an environment, I want to give you a job. It's going to be 9 to 5. Let's go with your 9 to 5. No hybrid. But I give you everything you've talked about. An environment where you can come in, feel free, relax, do your job the way you want it. You are not under any fear or phobia. There's no paranoia. There's no fear of intimidation. I mean, you relate as family, but you are still targeted on your goals. Would you take that employment?
9 to 5.
And not let the hybrid be a deal breaker?
I will take it.
Oh, you will take it?
Yes.
On that note, we've had a very interesting conversation with Gen Z Peace and Millennial Bashar, and my humble self, Gen X. So thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast, and thank you so much for being a part of this. I remain your host, Auntie Funke. Thank you and bye for now.